that we're really trying to accomplish this year, for the rest of this year, so that we can do it in a bigger scale in the following year. So let me just wrap up my closing remarks by thanking Courtney Mayer, who some of you know is going to leave us. She's actually going to retire and do things she wants to do with people she wants to do it with. So imagine that. And anytime she wants to do it, right? So Courtney, thanks for all of your work for Northside Kids, and congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you.
All right, so Meredith, do you want to do Q&A? Do I need to do something?
Well, right now we had one question and we got it answered. So y'all, if you have questions for Dr. Woods, if you want to throw them in that Q&A, you also do have the chat. If you put it in the chat, I can read those out. Okay, we did just get a question. When will our GT students with learning disabilities, the twice exceptional students, have their needs addressed through the 504 department?
Wow, that's too big for me. I'm going to ask Courtney or Kim to send that to 504, and let's see if we can get an answer. I don't know the answer to that one.
I will do so.
Yeah, we're going to have somebody with more expertise than me address that one.
Other questions? Again, you can put those in the chat, put them in the Q&A. We are so very fortunate to have Dr. Woods here, willing and able to answer many of our questions. Okay, here's one from the chat. I have heard that there is some question about 9th grade GT students taking the PSATs. What are the factors going into this decision?
I'm not aware of any question on that. I don't see any discussion about that not happening for some reason. So I'm not aware that that would be the case. The only change that I know of for SAT and PSAT was kind of COVID related, because they got canceled in the spring. We have done both PSAT and SAT in person this fall, and hope obviously to be able to continue to do that. But neither one of those tests, according to the College Board, can be done virtually for some reason. So the only way folks are going to be able to take them is in person.
Okay, and if you can type your whole question into the chat, we're not unmuting attendees today. So if you can type your question into the chat, that would be great. Another question, how is MAC GT program going virtually?
I'm going to defer to Courtney or Kim on that one.
You want me to take that one, Courtney? Okay, so MAC GT, one of the key elements of MAC GT, aside from the clustering, is teacher training. And so we have developed e-classes for those trainings for teachers. So the clustering part of MAC GT is a little tricky, obviously, during this time with some kids at home, some kids at school. So we chose to focus on what we can do for teachers and students, and that is to get teachers trained on the unique needs of our gifted students. And I'm talking about our gen ed teachers who are designated as MAC GT teachers. So at this point, they should have all finished the first training. That was actually opened by August 1st, so that one should be done. And they're taking course 2 right now, which we've suggested should be done by December 1st. And then we are working on course 3 because we are not real optimistic we'll get to do in-person training in January, which is when that is. So we are still working on getting teachers trained as to the needs of our GT kids. And hopefully when things settle down a bit and we're back to whatever normal looks like, we can start focusing again on the cluster part of MAC GT.
Okay, what's one positive surprise you have had during the last 6 to 9 months? In other words, a positive outcome and something you wouldn't have seen without being forced to go remote.
I can think of a few actually. So one is that we have had, like we're seeing tonight, huge attendance at various and sundry events, right? Folks that didn't have the time to travel all the way across the district to attend something now are attending things. And so I think from a communication standpoint, it's actually an improvement. And my guess is that some of this will stick with us, right? Even if COVID miraculously ended tomorrow, I doubt we would do all Zoom meetings because all of us are sick of it. But we would probably do some just because of the challenge of travel across the city or the district, right? The other, I guess, another one that I see is that there is a group of kids who, as I said, are really excelling in the current space, and they're excelling in many cases in extremely rigorous coursework with really high quality teachers, and so. And I don't know that you could have convinced me that would have been true back in April, right? I'm not sure that I would have bought that. And it's, I've seen the proof, right? They've made me believe it. So there are some silver linings there. I think from a district perspective, we've been able to do some things to help families kind of outside of the academic space that I'm really proud of. Ways that we probably weren't before, that we kind of got forced into. The ways that we've dealt with food insecurity in some of our families, I'm pretty proud of. And the crisis forced us to rethink, and it's been a good thing. So yeah, if you force me to, I can actually come up with some positives. Look at that.
Okay. Next question. Will we be continuing with the learning platforms indefinitely?
I guess I don't know exactly what the question means. I think we will continue with a learning management system indefinitely. And that will be true for both in-building learners and for virtual learners. And we had actually, truth be told, we were investigating a learning management system long pre-COVID. COVID kind of forced our timeline to move up, obviously a lot, but that was in an under investigation before. And so I don't see that going away. Now, I'm not sure if we can get back to a place where we've got a large percentage of kids in building learning. I don't know that kids will need to access it every single day, but I don't think it's going to go away. I think that that's something that's probably here to stay with us. And there are some positives there. If you think about a student who, I don't know, is in an accident and can't physically come to the school for a week or 2 weeks, this allows them to continue to learn in a much more rigorous way than what they would have had, pre-COVID. And so there are some advantages to that flexibility. So I don't think that that's going away.
Thank you. Our next question. What will transition to high school look like in terms of opportunities to learn about magnet schools and other programs specific to GT?
Yeah, so all of that stuff is going to be pushed virtual. So I don't see a reduction in that kind of information. There will be a little bit of difference, COVID-related difference with regard to some of the magnet programs. If you think about construction careers, for instance, we're having a pretty serious conversation about requiring in-building attendance. It's really hard to learn a lot of that material that particular school focuses on in a virtual setting. But outside of that, I think you'll have access to that same transition to high school material around advanced courses, around magnet schools and so forth. They're in the process of putting together the magnet type fairs now. They'll just be virtual instead of in person.
Thank you. Next question. Thank you so much for the consideration of strictly online teachers or strictly in-person teachers. When might this happen? There has been a difference since the teachers have been back. Oh, has there been a difference since the teachers have been back in the school?
I don't see it happening on a large scale until the start of the 21-22 school year. We are going to try to pilot some things, as I said before, in the spring, so that we're not doing it for the first time when we're doing it with 100,000 students. So we will try to pilot at all levels and with all kinds of students, all needs of students in the spring. But I don't know that I see it happening large scale between now and then. The rationale behind the kind of concurrent, if you will, model that we have now was that we were really, especially in the pre-K-5 space, concerned about not having students have to change teachers every time they move from in building to out of building and vice versa. And that is still a concern. The few folks that I know that are doing kind of split staffing models are really struggling with that. You're taking a third grader, and when they switch learning models, either because of the health situation or because the family chooses to, they're having a teacher change every time. And that is not an ideal circumstance. And so we have got to find ways to work through that if that's the model we're going to go to. So again, more reason to try to pilot this kind of stuff here in the late fall, early spring.
Thank you. Another question, does GT go all the way to college?
GT kids are served kind of intentionally through high school. And then after that, it's really more up to what does the child or family choose for that child, and are they being served not so much as a GT student, but in a way that's specific to what they care to study, the level of rigor at which they care to study it. And so that has more to do with college choices and then choices within colleges. Most of the big sophisticated colleges and universities do have programs for especially high achieving learners. If you're familiar with UT, they call it Plan 2, and they have some options off of Plan 2. Many colleges have what they call honors programs, but that's kind of a university by university, college by college thing. I don't, Courtney or Kim might have more to say about that.
That covers it for me. Kim? Mainly honors programs in college, yes.
Thank you. Our 6th grade GT field trip in the spring was canceled. What options will be available to keep our GT students engaged?
Yeah, I don't know that I see field trips coming back right away, or at least large scale ones. Again, I'll have to defer to Courtney or Kim on that one.
Yeah, most schools that we've talked with, they've looked at some virtual field trips and things like that. But right now, we're just really not putting kids on school buses and sending them on field trips.
Thank you. Are you already enforcing that for the kids who are in virtual learning are still participating in the classroom with the teachers? There are times where my child is feeling left out because they are in Zoom. I know you mentioned something about spring, but is anything happening sooner?
I think if the answer to the question is, are teachers going to be working with both virtual and in-person students into the spring for the rest of the school year, the answer is probably yes. As I said before, we are going to pilot some things, but they won't be large scale. They'll be selected places, and we'll try to get a wide variety of students to try it with. So we'll try it with some pre-K, early learners. We'll try it with some GT kids. We'll try it with some special needs kids. We'll try it at middle school and at high school and so forth. But they won't be large scale. So for most people, I don't think it'll impact them.
Thank you. We have some questions in the chat that came in around the same time. So I hope y'all know I'm going to try to balance those. Should we anticipate our students being taught by, so you kind of answered this, but basically we should anticipate that our students are being taught by a teacher teaching both groups in person and online all year for the most part, correct?
I think that's a fair statement. The answer is probably yes, with a goal to try to get away from that in the next school year.
Thank you. Another person asked, I'm sure I've missed this along the way. At what point in the school year will 5th grade students learn about their GT scheduling options for middle school?
Again, I defer to the experts.
We can take that one. That's actually coming up pretty soon. We have our transition meeting with our teachers on December the 9th. That's our elementary and middle school teachers. And Courtney, remind me, did they know exactly when registration was?
We didn't get a date yet on the exact date of registration, but it's pretty soon after that.
Yeah. So we encourage our middle school teachers to reach out to their feeders, their elementary feeders. Of course, that will look probably different this year as far as, actually, I shouldn't say different, because sometimes it's been virtual, like a Zoom thing anyway, at some of our elementaries or some of our middle schools who have lots of feeders, multiple feeders. They weren't able to go out in person anyway, but I would look for that to happen no later than the end of January.
Okay. How would virtual learning for GT look in the future? You mentioned virtual academies. Would campuses then merge students by cluster? Would we need to sign our children up, or would we be invited? And then another question, part of that, when will MAC GT go to all campuses?
I probably can't answer any of those questions. We're not far enough along in the kind of nitty gritty of a virtual academy. The way it's sitting in my head, which could change tomorrow, is that students would have to apply. They would have to show some success, frankly, in virtual in the past, which we're going to have plenty of evidence of. And I don't know that I see that GT students would be served differently than they are in building necessarily. So for example, if there were a pullout with regard to GT in elementary, that could happen in a virtual environment, just like it does in an in-person environment. The question about MAC GT is tied to lots of stuff, one of which is budget. And there are kind of dark clouds on the budget horizon for public schools right now. And so we had pre-COVID a pretty cogent plan for the expansion of MAC GT. We'll have to revisit that probably late in the spring as the legislature is hopefully wrapping up and going home, because we'll have a better sense of what the state funding situation is going to be, which will translate to anything we want to expand, like MAC GT or pre-K or anything else.
Due to COVID, the district has had a tremendous amount of extra expenses. Years ago, when Texas cut the education budget, the GT program was greatly affected. Do you foresee another large budget cut to the GT program?
That goes kind of that answer I just gave about, I don't know that I am not in a place to predict cuts to anything. And obviously we don't want to cut anything and would really prefer to expand, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with regard to the legislature. There's several things going on right now. And again, I'll try not to get in the weeds that impact state funding. One is enrollment in Texas districts, almost no matter what kind of Texas district, is down, mainly because people chose not to send pre-K students to school, and in many cases, kinder students. And the other thing that's going on is because of federal waivers around free and reduced lunch, families don't have an incentive to fill out that form. And no argument with feeding families, but that form is also tied to a significant amount of funding for a school district like Northside. And then you've got the legislature coming into session in January, and knowing that the state's budget is also going to be challenged. So I'll stop talking about budget and boring the heck out of everybody, but that's what's impacting us and potentially impacting us coming forward.
Okay, from the chat, I just want to thank you, Dr. Woods, and the whole team for the strong stand you have taken for continuing virtual learning with resilience. I, along with my son, are enjoying this completely. Just a little thank you shout out. Okay, if we continue virtual learning in the future, will this open possibilities for students to attend classes only offered at other campuses, for example, forensics?
It's a little in the weeds for where we are now, but I think the answer is yes. The way it sits in my head is that a student would be a Northside student and could thus take any course offered to a Northside student, but understand that that course might be taught by a teacher who's not assigned to the same home campus that the student is, right? They would access the course remotely. It's a whole different way of thinking about doing school, but that could be a positive byproduct to it, indeed.
Hello, thank you for your time today. How will the district elementary GT conference take place at the end of the year? Our young learners look forward to it every year. Also, other school sponsored events, will they happen virtually?
Kim, you have to help me out.
Yes. So that's actually, we don't have a district-wide GT conference. That is, I believe you're probably referencing like a showcase at the end of the
Showcase,
year.
yeah.
Yeah, the students work. And at the end of last year, we did see some really amazing examples of virtual showcases. So we don't know what that's like. That is actually a campus decision. Each of the GT specialists can determine how they want to do that, but we absolutely are still requiring that the research be done and that the kids have a way to present their research. And so I believe that you will probably see some options, whether or not the kids are in school or learning virtually. But just because they're doing virtual doesn't mean that they can't have a super high quality showcase, because we've seen evidence of that.
Yeah, I got invited to a couple of the middle school, or was able to make a couple of middle school showcases in the spring, and man, some really impressive work, and so well designed by the teacher, where it was easy to access and you could leave comments for the student. Anyway, I really enjoyed that.
Thank you. How will GT students be impacted, if at all, with the virtual academy that is being tested in the spring? Will these students be able to participate in these programs, and will they be with other GT students or lumped in with all students?
Yeah, probably too far down in the weeds for now. I think if GT students ultimately choose to attend a virtual academy, then they'll be served in the same way that they would be as an in-building student. It'll obviously just be a virtual method of service. But yeah, that's a little too specific for right now.
Any thought to teaching typing skills for the elementary age kids? Some kids have difficulty with the pure data entry elements of their assignments, and I'm concerned they'll never be able to break bad habits learned during the pandemic.
Got me. Sorry. I'll have to ask somebody else that one. I don't know.
Okay, we'll start that one.
Okay.
I'll jot it down and email it to you. Okay, this is an interesting one. Is the STAR test going to be done online?
It's a great question. My suspicion is that there will be some kind of STAR test in the spring, and that it will almost certainly have to be offered online in order to get large, numbers of test takers. But I cannot say that is. I can't confirm that. That's a state decision, obviously, not a local decision. But I'm guessing that the answer is yes.
Okay. I am leaning more towards my kids being virtual the entire year, but once they saw their friends in school, they wanted to go back. It was a mess hearing the question every day. Now what I'm witnessing is my kids are feeling left out because they are virtual. Teachers are more excited that they have kids in the classroom and not as much excited for the ones who are virtual.
Yep. That feels about right. And to be honest, we've been trying to encourage families to come back. I still believe, even though I had said before and believe it to be true, that there are some kids that are clearly excelling in the virtual environment, but I don't know that is even close to a majority of students. I think it's a relatively small percentage. This is one of the reasons to consider a virtual academy beyond this year. But I think this year, unless you just happen to be in a place that we're piloting it, that's going to be the reality. And there is, you know, we, and even school people do this. We get into a place where we think only about academics and not about the kind of social and emotional needs of kids. And there are real reasons, right, for kids to be in the same place and interact, and you know, kids learn things from each other that we adults have a hard time relating to them. So, it is a worry to me that as we sit here on November the 5th, only about 40% of our kids are in buildings. That number seems to me, it just feels to me very low. And while I would never criticize any parent's judgment about how to educate their student, that number, that is the thing that keeps me up at night. That and the money are the things that keep me up at night.
Why are students allowed to do virtual learning yet participate in sports at the school campus? It seems like if they can do sports, they could be in person at school.
Yeah, that's one of those things. When my opening remarks, I said, you know, if we knew then what we know now, we might have made a different decision. Back when that decision had to be made, it seemed very much like the right thing to do because none of our kids were going to be in person. Remember, we started the school year 100% virtual, and the only way to allow kids to participate was to make that decision. I don't love it as much as I did at that time. It seemed great in April. It doesn't seem so good in November. And so that is something that we will revisit for the 21-22 school year, whether or not that is allowed. I'm not saying we're going to do away with it. There are real reasons to keep it, but it doesn't look as good as it did a few months ago.
Just a fun little note from one of our GT specialists that they did a virtual field trip today and the kids loved it. So those virtual field trips are out there, and we can always share that knowledge among our GT specialists. So awesome. Thanks for sharing, Mary. Okay, next question. Previously, the district held closely to county/city guidance for when to open and close the campuses. With the recent but relatively minor increase in cases, what are the district's current guidelines? Are those guidelines specific to campuses? I understand this can be a moving target, but I'm curious what your current outlook is.
So we have a matrix for how we operate that's kind of based on colors, you know, red, orange, yellow, green. That matrix was put together in the spring. It's been tweaked since, again, as we learn more about the disease, and it will continue to be tweaked. What we've committed to at this point is not forcing children out of the building. Those families that have chosen in-building learning, we're not going to force them out of the building. Now, might a school be closed for a period of time because of an outbreak of the disease? Yes, that is possible. And it's the reason why we need to have a learning management system and the ability for kids to learn virtually, even if they might not want to. So our commitment at this point is not to force children out. But the reason we pay such close attention to the metrics is it informs the pace at which we bring more students back. So if we had a spike in San Antonio, if we started seeing large numbers of cases in our schools, which, knock on wood, we have not yet, that might inform that process of bringing additional students back.
Thank you. In Central Texas, our hometown area, students in high school could acquire an associate's degree with dual credit and then further along with the community college. I am unsure if my children will want this, but just by chance in the next 3 to 4 years, do you see projects along with the HEI-community colleges in the area for this to be available as an option should a select few desire it?
Not sure I understand that one. Where is that, Meredith?
In the Q&A, if you click the Q&A at the bottom of the screen, in the open section, it should be the 4th question down, maybe more. From Michaeline. I'm sorry if I said that incorrectly.
Maybe like an early college, high school. Is that maybe what the question is about, Dr. Woods?
Yeah.
Where they walk away with an associate's out of high school?
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right. So there are programs that offer that. We chose to deploy our resources more broadly. The challenge with offering a program like that is they're capped at 500 students. And so we have made the decision to spread our dual credit resources out more so that more students can earn college credit via dual credit and not limit it to 500. As you know, in Northside, 500 is not a very large percentage of kids. And so each year we have about, I don't know, help me, Courtney, 8,000 credits earned a year in dual credit, something like that, not counting AP and on-ramps.
Oh, last year was 11,000. Yes.
So it's just a different way of dealing with your resources.
Thank you. When is the next time to test for GT? Can my kindergarten age son apply?
Okay.
I posted the GT testing calendar in the chat already. I'll post it again on that one.
Thank you. And are kinder students eligible for GT? Okay, Kim is nodding yes, thank you.
Yes, yes. The teachers have been doing kinder screening. We're in the kinder screening phase. The nominations are due by around the 1st of December, maybe actually right before Thanksgiving, to be honest. And then the testing takes place in January. So if you want to nominate your student, you may nominate your student, but the teachers are also doing kinder screening presently. So you'll talk to your campus GT specialist if you are looking to nominate your kindergartner or any grade level.
Thank you. What can be done to address the lack of rigorous material and/or challenging work at the elementary level?
Well, it's the reason why we went down the road of MAC GT to try to get at that. It's generally literacy can be well differentiated within a classroom space, almost regardless of the kind of variance of children that are in the space. Math is tougher, and that's the reason why we went down that road there. And that's going to be about as good an answer as I can give, unless Kim or Courtney wants to add on to it.
Kim, you're muted.
You muted yourself, Kim.
Sorry, y'all. So that is the goal. I saw in the questions down the list, somebody's asking, what is MAC-GT? We always fail to identify that because in a district our size, anytime we roll out an initiative, it's going to take the course of several years. And so MAC stands for Math and Clustering with GT Students. So Dr. Woods just spoke about why we chose to go in the direction of math. But essentially, we cluster GT students into 1 or 2 gen ed classes. So all 3rd grade GT students would be in the same 1 or 2 classes. And we train those teachers. So that was what I was talking about at the beginning of this meeting. We have continued to train those teachers as to the unique needs of our GT students, both social and emotional needs, as well as we've shown some instructional strategies. We really hit that pretty hard as to how to increase the rigor for students. And so ideally, we would be able to do that for every teacher. And we really highly encourage that the MAC GT teachers share these strategies with all teachers on their campus. It's just good, good practice. But it is going to take a while to roll out. We're currently at 36 elementary schools. And so we were able to add 6 this year. It was not as many as we had planned, but due to circumstances, we still have expanded this year. So we were happy to see it expand at all.
Okay, so going back to the question about the field trip, the The parent said, right now I see no difference between what my middle school GT child is doing versus other pre-AP middle schoolers. What can we expect to keep our kids engaged?
Not sure I've got a good answer on that one.
Okay, I'll step in on that one too. So that's an excellent question. And that is something that we actually address with our GT content teachers and new GT specialists. So we had a meeting was that just last week, Courtney? Last Wednesday or the Wednesday before? And that was the entire focus on that training. And it is a required training for, again, new GT specialists and new GT content teachers. So if you're not seeing that happen at your campus, you need to speak to your campus GT specialist, because it is an expectation at the district that we have 3 levels of instruction. We have the regular academics track, we have pre-AP, and then we have the GT class. And a GT class should look different. And if it's not, again, you need to make initial contact with your GT specialist and find out why, because we do provide training on that, and that is an expectation. And with that, Meredith, you want to do one more question for Dr. Woods that he can answer?
Give me a quick second and I'll.
Okay.
Oh, I like this question. Is there anything extra that parents can do to help our teachers and staff as we all go through this situation?
That's a great question. What we've seen at some, especially elementary schools, but at some schools generally, is an actual increase in the number of people who are coming and volunteering in the school and helping teachers navigate both the having in-person and virtual kids. There are, especially with younger learners, there are lots of things that almost any adult can help with that really make that teacher's life easier. And we've seen some pretty good success with that, with parents in the building at a number of our schools.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time tonight. We really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
absolutely.
I know we had some questions that we weren't able to get to, but hopefully we can get some answers. Maybe we can put together a little doc from the Q&A, and Kim and Courtney can help us get all your questions answered, because I know we had quite a few and we didn't get to them all. But
Yeah.
we want to
Sorry.
respect your time, and we know you're, a little bit busy right now. It's not too busy, I'm sure. No, we know you're doing so much, and thank you for all that you do for not only the GT program, but for all the kids in the district. We really are fortunate to have such an amazing superintendent. So thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks to all of you. Really appreciate the time and appreciate the interaction tonight. Y'all have a great rest of your evening. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Danny, you want to
All right.
introduce our next piece?
Sure. And so we definitely appreciate Dr. Wood's time, and I hope everybody's participating gets kind of a sense of the forum that we try to create within the meeting. And so one of the other activities that we've been following within the GT community North Side is an effort to provide social and emotional support for parents of gifted and talented students. And we have an update on that activity from Ms. Boyer and Ms. DeLeon. So with no further ado, here they go.
So Sandra is sharing her screen.
Yes.
First,
Thank you so much,
we have
Danny.
a visual. So I just want to, for those of you who are new, and this is your first advisory council meeting, welcome. Sandra and I just wanted to share really quick what our gifted groupies group is. We, as a parent myself, and also as a classroom teacher and a GT specialist, I've always seen the need for parents to have support. I'm a GT parent myself, and I felt like, I had to reach out and find resources for myself to be able to communicate and just be able to relate to my daughter, both daughters actually. And so this has been a goal of mine ever since I became a GT specialist is to be able to provide some support and some community among parents of GT kids. And my wonderful co-pilot here, Miss Sandra De Leon, said that she would join me in that effort. And I'm so appreciative because we could never, neither one of us could do this alone. And so that's how we started what we call Gifted Groupies. And so Sandra and I have gone through some training that's offered by an organization called SING, or Supporting Emotional Needs of the Gifted. And we are so appreciative of Kim and Courtney. They both sent us to get this training. And so it's been very, very helpful, and it's allowed us to both start this Gifted Groupies group for our parents in Northside.
And here you're going to see the really the mission of SING, empowering families and communities to guide GT individuals to reach their goals intellectually, physically, emotionally, socially, and spiritually. And I think that's the whole purpose of this parent group. So we wanted to take a little bit of your time today to give it an update, and don't take our word for it, like Reading Rainbow, if anybody remembers Reading Rainbow, don't take our word for it. So some of the session feedback that we've received is here on the screen, and it's really empowering to hear back from parents at the end of each of our sessions. We have feedback requested at the end of each of the sessions, and it's just the way they feel that they're not alone. They can connect with other parents, similar situations, similar issues. And then we have a platform that we have created in the group where they can share strategies. So a few more session feedback comments here. One that's really sticks out to us is where they just feel like, oh my gosh, other people are experiencing the same thing. So it's really reassuring to them. And a lot of the parents are really harsh on themselves as well. So it's a nice avenue to realize, okay, I'm doing this right and I need to keep going, or can I try a different strategy and will it work better for my family?
Yeah, so our group is basically centered around a book study, and Sandra's going to share that with you, which book we read. It's called A Parent's Guide to Gifted Children. And the main purpose of our gathering is just so parents can have a sense of community, to know, as Sandra said, that they're not alone. We encourage parents to just share their parenting recipes. So as you know, when you find something, a great recipe for a great meal and something that works well, you want to share it, right? And so it's a great platform for parents to be able to do that. So we read different chapters each week. And then, as Sandra said, we have a platform where we share key takeaways from each chapter of our book, and have great conversations with each other about that.
And definitely not a lecture series. So it's not a therapy group, but it is very therapeutic. We're certified facilitators using very specific protocols and strategies taught by SING, and we follow the SMPG model. We don't lecture, we merely facilitate that sharing of strategies of parental recipes. And the adventure will continue. So we are offering another group here that will start on Monday for a couple of Mondays. And then we're going to be taking that feedback based on our parents and how they felt with the 2-session book study meeting, and we'll adjust and move forward for the spring. So our goal is definitely to continuously offer these groups. And we're right now exploring the possibility to serve our Spanish-speaking parents of the gifted children. So that's for sure. Stay tuned for those details to come.
And so I know that we have, or Sandra and I know that we have several of our gifted groupies here tonight. So if any of you are part of that group and you feel like you would want to share something about your experience, we will just give you a minute or so to do that. Feel free
Well,
to.
actually, Jennifer, I think because it's a webinar format, they can't do that. But guess who participated in our group? Wendy. So can you just share a brief comment to what your experience was and your perspective? That would be awesome.
I don't know if Shannon's here either. I'll look and see if Shannon's here as well. Yep, Shannon's here.
I was going to claim I couldn't unmute myself, but Courtney gave me that power. But no, it was really great. It was nice. I have the book. It comes on Amazon really quick. And it was just a nice, I'm a deadline person. So it's good to have like a deadline to read a couple chapters. So it just didn't sit on my shelf and gather dust, but I forced myself to read it and then had a really good discussion with them. And it was just great to connect to people like, Jennifer and Ms. DeLeon were sharing from around the district that have similar interests and backgrounds and kids, and hearing from parents of younger students and parents of older students. So it was definitely great. And one of our gifted groupies kind of took the, losing the phrase here, but kind of took us going. And I think we're going to continue to meet on our own and look on some additional chapters, which is great. So The Bull by the Reins, that's what I'm looking for. But yes, it was great. I highly recommend it. It's a great book. I have not read all of it, but I think that having the series helped me dive into the book. So if it's something you're thinking about doing, it's very low commitment. It's 2 Mondays, right, for an hour, which was really great, but also gets you into some great reading material.
So I just want to thank Wendy for giving her testimony there. That what you just said is exactly the goal, I believe, of the Gifted Groupies book. So Sandra and Jennifer are awesome. They came to us. They wanted to start this initiative. I will say that Courtney and I were just able to purchase that book. We have now 1 copy on every campus. So if you wanted, as a parent, to check that out from your GT specialist, it's just it's 1 copy, but it's 1 copy on each campus. But the goal is really then for the parents, if you feel like the group is helpful to you, to just kind of continue your talks, because it's sometimes very lonely to be the parent of a gifted student where you yourself don't quite understand, but neither do maybe some of your peers and their peers, parents. And so it's just really opening up a venue for you all to kind of continue the conversation. And so I'm so thrilled to hear that, Wendy, you've got some people that are going to be doing that, because as Sandra and Jennifer said, their goal is just kind of to get the group started, and then they're going to move on to another group, and then whatever happens. But that's awesome. Glad to hear it. So
yeah, the whole goal is to empower you parents, and so we're really encouraging you guys who are participating to take the reins and just start driving it. And I know that Shannon's already doing that right now, and Wendy, thank y'all.
I think though, since we're on a Zoom webinar, the only people who have options to talk are the board. So anyway, unfortunately, we can't hear from everybody. But anyway, thank you, Wendy, for sharing. All right, what's next, Danny?
Well, thanks to Ms. Boyer and Ms. DeLeon for the work they're doing. I think it's great that we're making some headway in that area. It's something that as an organization we've been talking about for a while, and to see it come together the past year has been really good. So thanks a lot for the work y'all are doing and leading that. And hopefully we'll have some more opportunities and be able to continue to grow that. Next up, we have a State of GT from Ms. Courtney Mayer.
Yes, so this is going to be super short because normally I do this State of GT and Advanced Academics every year at this meeting. And normally we have STAR data to share and a whole bunch of other information. And of course, because of the pandemic, I have 6 slides. So I'll share my screen. It'll be real quick, and I can take questions through the chat if we need to. So spinning. I don't know if it's sharing. There, can y'all see that, panelists? Yes? Okay. So just a little bit about what we've been doing for the last year. First off, I know we had a lot of talk with Dr. Woods about MACGT. these are our cohorts. So this is from where we started year one with just those 5 schools that you can see. And then how we've expanded over the last few years. And you can see where cohort 6 is our new campuses this year. Like Kim said, we've made it to 30 something schools with the goal we were going to expand faster and bigger this year. But under all of the circumstances, the budget and the fact that we're, in a global pandemic, we kind of put the brakes on a little bit, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to expand in the future. When it comes to those MAC GT campuses, we did make it out to every single MAC GT classroom last year to visit, which was phenomenal, and saw some amazing things. This year, normally we have trainings where the teachers come and we train them in person. We didn't want to stop that because that training is exactly what the teachers need. And so we put it all in an e-format. So the teachers take it on their own. We video our training and then they watch it. It's self-paced. And so we're doing that. And then just also, we have been sending teachers, and this isn't just specific to MAC GT, but we have been sending our GT specialists to virtual trainings. We sent many of them to a Depth and Complexity conference. We're sending many of them to the Texas Association of the Gifted and Talented conference, which is all virtual. Both of those were virtual this year. And so we're making sure that our teachers are still getting the training in the gifted nature and needs and curriculum and things like that the teachers can use.
Courtney, can I share something really quick?
Absolutely.
I saw a comment in the chat about one of the schools that is MAC GT that wasn't on the list. So that particular school is actually not an official MAC GT. So I want to kind of talk about the difference here, which I'm really glad I saw that comment. So thank you for sharing. So research shows that clustering is what is best for our gifted kids. That's how we got the MAC GT program started. And so we have really encouraged that all campuses would do this, would cluster kids. Where we have to limit it, honestly, is the teacher training. And it's mainly because it's an expense. We not only provide the instructional training, but we provide materials to go with that. And so that is the main reason why we have, to limit the number of students. So we are thrilled that there are, I think at one point we have this year is just all over the place, to be honest, but at one point we had about 75% of our campuses that were clustering. And so while we don't call that MAC GT because we haven't supported them from the district level in the training, it's awesome that because research shows that even if kids are just clustered and there is no instructional modification, that they just kind of feed off each other and there's going to be some higher achievement taking place. But if you can improve the instruction, if you can increase the level of instruction, then they grow even more. And that, of course, is our goal, is to grow them to the maximum potential. So I just kind of wanted to clarify the difference there. Thank you.
Yes. So we trained a lot of teachers last year. So we went and looked up how many teachers did we train in different types of GT strategies. And you can see a couple thousand teachers in Northside were trained in things like the social and emotional needs of gifted, trained in how to better differentiate for higher level learners, et cetera. And so we just, put that together here for you so you can see that we're working really hard, even when half the year, we were shut down, not quite half, but we still continued to train thousands of teachers in Northside. Moving on to advanced academics. These are the kids that earned college credit last year. So some of these kids are middle school, mainly we're talking high school here. And this is over 4 years. So you can see we have continued to grow all of our programs that earn college credit. So AP exams, we had over 7,600 AP exams passed last year. That is a huge growth over the past few years. You can see the number Dr. Woods was mentioning. We had over 11,000 kids earn college credit through our local community college, and we partner with mainly Northwest Vista. We have a few kids in St. Philip's, a few kids. Those are mainly like your CTE courses, your those kinds of courses, but mostly we're with Northwest Vista. And then the program we started just 3 years ago, which is a partnership with the University of Texas at Austin, where kids actually earn a transcript from UT to take with them. And we had almost 1,800 kids earn credit, and we've been growing that every year. And so it's just a third way for kids to earn college credit in addition to the 2 that we already had. And then the last slide I have, it had been my goal when I got the job that we wanted to have more AP exams passed than not passed. And you can see over the years, we had a lot of kids that would sit for AP exams. They would be in the class all year, they would take the exam, but they wouldn't earn the college credit. Now that's okay, because all studies show that just being in the course, even if you don't take the exam or you don't earn college credit, you're still going to be better off in terms of studies that show a success rate in college. However, it's even better if we can earn the college credit in high school. And you can see that blue line are AP exams passed. And finally, for the first time this year, well, last year, but we got the scores this year, we had more kids earn college credit on AP exams than not earn college credit. And so we finally passed the 50% mark. We were at almost 52%. And so we're very, very proud about this, my blue and green lines here. And that's it. I will stop sharing and see if there are any questions in the chat that I need to respond to. Would it be in the Q&A, Meredith? Can I get more information for the UT Austin? Sure. You know what I'll do? I'm going to go find their website and I'll post. They have UT has a fantastic on-ramps website, and I'll post it here in the chat. Meredith, if I post it, can everybody see the answers?
Yeah, you just want to make sure that on the drop down it says to all panelists and attendees, and that will send it to everyone.
Okay, you'll have to help me with that one. But
do you see the chat window?
Well, this is in question and answer, it's in the Q&A.
Okay. Yeah, if you answer that, you can just click the type answer and you can put it in there.
And everybody will see it. Okay.
Yeah, and then
I think it's, go ahead.
Sorry. I'm compiling all of the questions from the question and answer, just so all of our attendees know. I'm gathering them up, and we'll try to get an FAQ document together for some of those questions as best we can.
Okay, and I can absolutely, whoever asked that question, if you want more information about UT on-ramps, you're welcome to send it to me, but their website probably will answer everything you ever wanted to know. In Northside, we offer it all at some campus, every single course that UT offers. It's not offered at all campuses because it doesn't always make, but we do. I think for Monica, a 5th grader, when do AP programs begin? The first course that they can take is AP Spanish, and that begins in middle school, and they take it as an 8th grader. All the rest of AP courses are pretty much high school courses.
To the question about the FAQ document, we did send out an attendance link, and I'll repost that in the chat. But if you fill that out, I do believe it asks for your email address, and we will post it through social media. So we'll use our Twitter, our Facebook, and our Remind to share that PDF out with y'all once we have those answers. So do give us a little bit of time. Those questions may not come immediately, but I will put that attendance link in the chat. We just want to kind of see who's here and where you're coming from, just to be able to best support all of you and all of your students.
And then the anonymous Q&A about when will more on-ramps English classes be offered? Some campuses don't have it. That is true. Some campuses do not have it. Most campuses have English, but it has to make. And so it's offered in the course catalog, but if not enough kids sign up for it, then they can't offer it because they, we can't usually justify one teacher and say 4 kids. But as long as enough kids sign up, and so you can get your child's friends to want to take that class, and then it would be offered. And then
there's a question about the entire video, and I think we got it, Meredith, the first couple of minutes probably are clipped off too, right?
Yes, because I always forget. I'm so sorry, y'all. I missed the first few minutes of Dr. Wood's State of the Union, but I did get most of it recorded, and that will also get posted on YouTube, and then we'll share that link out through our various social media platforms. So again, we have our Twitter, and that's at NIST GTEA. No, it's at GTEA. I'll post them because I have a slide for it somewhere. So sorry.
I think it's NISD GTEAC. But okay. We also have a Facebook. So if you follow it on Facebook, Meredith will get the video. It does take a day or so to upload because it's a huge file. But we'll get that on the Facebook also, as well as the FAQ sheet. That's going to take us a day or so to get all that together to post. Just keep watching.
I think there's a question from Monica in the chat about going back to the cohorts. I think she's talking about MACGT.
Yeah, it's not a set curriculum. It's like we teach the teachers instructional strategies, and it should be going on. That particular school, I know you said you're from Carson, they actually got trained last year. And I know they have some new teachers. So the new teachers are going through the training this year. Do we know what the Facebook page is? Meredith?
Can you paste it in there?
Yeah, sorry, I was looking up the links for all of them. I believe it's facebook.com/NISDGTAC, but let me just double check.
You're gonna put up the links to everything right there?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Well, you know what? I have bit.lys to all of them. Give me just a second. I'll get those in the chat for y'all. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Meredith.
Great.
And then that's it for me with my state of GT, Danny.
Awesome. And so for those of you who may have missed it when Dr. Woods mentioned it, Courtney will be retiring after a long career in public education before our next meeting. So we wanted to say thank you for that. And I believe she has something that was, in this virtual environment, we were able to get to her ahead of time from the board. And
so you can open your present now, Courtney.
Yes, you can open your present now.
See the beautiful flowers. They're beautiful. And I will open, y'all keep going, but I'll open the card of the present. I don't want people to have to watch.
Oh no, we're gonna watch.
Okay.
So.
Should I?
Yes, you can show it to the camera if you want. Oh, no, read it, read that.
Read the card.
Yeah, the card.
Courtney, thank you for your contributions to public education and the gifted community. The future of Texas is in our public schools, and thanks to you, that future is bright. Enjoy your retirement and remember to take the road less traveled because that will make all the difference. The Northside Board. So thank y'all.
Yeah, so we're very excited for your contributions. Oh, did you open it? Yeah.
I'm opening it. Double wrapped.
I know, sorry, I couldn't find a box, so.
Oh, yay. So for everybody on here, we have moved into our RV and we are traveling for the next, we've committed to 3 years on the road. And so it's a journal for me to track everywhere I've been. And it says RV there yet, my road trip journal, which is so perfect. And I don't have anything like this. So thank you very much. This will be perfect.
Yeah, we'll hope you remember all the hard work you gave to the GT community every time you write in it and pick it up. So enjoy your travels and thank you for all your service, for sure.
Thank you. And I love to journal. So thank you very much.
Awesome. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to remind you of some of our future meetings. On February 18th, we'll have our third meeting, and on April 22nd, our final meeting. And I believe on the 18th, we are doing summer activities for GT. And we have no idea what summer is going to look like next year, but that's not any reason to not plan something. So usually what we do is we'll have different programs that offer opportunities that may interest the GT community come and speak about their programs. And so we're going to see if we can do that. And then I think
you know what, Danny, somebody asked a question about Camp Invention. So I'm going to reach out to Camp Invention and see if we can get a representative from Camp Invention to actually come talk to us.
Okay.
That one is one we've done the last couple of years, and somebody had asked if we're bringing it back. And the answer is absolutely, we will be bringing it back. I can't tell you whether that will be in person or virtual because it's up in the air. But honestly, I heard really good things about our virtual, the way that they ran things virtually last year. That's a really cool organization. It's the National Inventors Hall of Fame. They do a really good job.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, so we'll definitely be looking for some opportunities, and that'll be one. And so we're looking forward to that. Also, we will have our walkathon on March 26th. And this past year, because of course we had it in the middle of the pandemic, we ended up doing it virtually. And it was a brilliant idea that worked out very well because we were able to get participants, not just within our geographical area of the district, but we had family participants all over the state and maybe the country. But at any rate, it was a great turnout, and we were able to raise some funds for grants for our GT teachers and some different opportunities like that. So please keep an eye out to participate, support our walkathon. And I think that's all we have for this evening. So again, thank you all for joining us and participating and showing your support. The thing I emphasized last time that I'll do again is that we're in the middle of a national emergency with the global pandemic. These times are tough. We're all experiencing different challenges. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. The resources are there. For those of you who watch or see, every night the mayor of San Antonio has gotten on TV and told you the status of COVID within our city. And one of the things he mentioned yesterday was public education, the challenges that we have with virtual school. He emphasized the importance that people within this community, and I think Dr. Woods and definitely the members of the board and staff of Northside would agree. Everybody wants your students to be successful. A lot of us recognize that we're not always there, but we're going to put out the effort. There's a lot of people that are looking to help you. And the main thing the mayor emphasized that I would emphasize as well is that if you need help, ask. There's a lot of resources available, a lot of people. If there's anything we can do to help you guys, just ask, reach out to these resources. A lot of things are being made available, and nobody wants anybody to fail or to suffer any more than is necessary. So please know that we're here to help. And with that, I just want to thank you all again for attending, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Take care.
Just shout out to Dorothy Guerra has asked about the transition from 5th grade to middle school, and that we are working in that. Our teachers are going to meet, our middle school and elementary GT specialists will meet on December 9th, and the middle school teachers should be reaching out to your elementary students shortly thereafter. So by the end of January for sure, that they should have some information on that transition and what their GT courses are. Thanks, everybody.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.